Ever wonder what's really going on in your husband's mind? Why he thinks, acts, or responds the way he does? If you've been asking these questions, I want you to stick around because in today's video, I'm breaking down what every wife, especially if she is a follower of Christ, must understand about her husband's mindset, what goes on in that head of his, and how this understanding and perspective can transform her marriage. Now, if this is your first time being here, I want to say welcome. I'm Kingsley Grant, and for your information, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, certified relationship coach, and host of the Build Your Happier Marriage podcast. And note, this is not professional therapy being given here, and I want to make sure I qualify that as well. And what I do, I help wives of entrepreneurial husbands build happier, stronger marriages without neglecting their own needs, right? That tends to be the case sometimes, like a trade-off that seems to happen, or people think of that if I do this, then this is going to happen. So they it's an either or, but I help them to do both. I believe that what I will share with you here is a perspective you don't get everywhere else because of my own experience of being married 39 years as of this recording, and have worked with hundreds of spouses, some just like you, for almost 2 decades. Now, over this period of time, as you can imagine, I have experienced a number of things from different spouses, but also my own journey. And what I wholeheartedly believe and come to believe and strongly stand in, and that this is, I believe, is the key, is the game changer for stronger and happier and longer lasting marriage. Here's what it is. I wholeheartedly hold firm to this, that embracing the mind of Christ is the fastest and most impactful way to build a happier, stronger, and longer lasting marriage. And you'll see why I say that in this video. At the end, I have a gift for you, and it's the Happier Marriage Roadmap, 5 proven steps to a happier, stronger marriage. And I'll tell you how to secure your own free copy, but it will make sense by watching this video all the way through. It will help you better appreciate this roadmap. You'll see how it fits within what it is we're discussing today. So let's dive in. Now, many Christian wives feel frustrated. Now, this happens to, of course, wives who are not even Christians, but I want to use this context to speak about this from this lens. Many Christian wives feel frustrated because they don't understand why their husband reacts so unemotional for things she wishes he would show some emotion, or why he seems distant and uncaring. Now, like I said, this happened to many, many wives, even if they're not Christians. So it is true for a lot of wives, almost, I would say, universally. But here's what I find also alongside that is there are some misconceptions that comes up about husbands or men in general, right? And one of those, here are a few of those. Number one, men don't have emotions. Wow, it's so untrue that we don't have emotions. So I can tell you firsthand, I have emotions. I've met many men with emotions. As a matter of fact, you want to hear something? Every single person, no matter who it is, men or women, we all have emotions. God created us with emotions. It's just that we manage it differently. Some show it more explicitly than others. Some internalize their emotions, but we all have emotions. We all have emotions, and we speak them every single day, one way or another. Here's another misconception. All men care about is sex. Now, I don't know where that came from, but I have an idea, of course, because it's true. I mean, let me be honest here. Sex is on the mind of many men a lot of times, especially in the younger age years of life. It's almost always there. There are exceptions to everything, of course. So, but to say that's all they care about is not understanding men. And this is where I think I come in and have an edge talking to wives than other wives or women does, because this is where I can speak directly. I can speak forcefully because I'm a man, I'm a husband. So I understand a bit more than the other typical woman who may hear this out there or read of this out there and somehow embrace it and believe it to be gospel. No, it's not true that that's all we care about. The third thing is that if he cared, your husband cared, he'd know exactly what you need without you saying it. Here's what I say sometimes in jokingly. I will say, your husband did not carry his crystal ball today with him. So he's not on the ball, no pun intended, right? Because what happened is that if you don't tell him, how is he going to know? He cannot read your mind. He cannot read your mind. And somehow some wives believe that he should know. He's been married to me for all these many years. Let me tell you, my wife has been married to me for 39 years. She doesn't know my mind. Sorry to break that news to you. She doesn't, and I don't know her mind. On any given day, we may have reason to think about something differently because we're changing. We're not this fixed person. We're growing, we're evolving, we're becoming better at things. Unfortunately, some people become worse, but we're changing anyway. So what these beliefs do that they lead to unmet expectations, resentment, and emotional disconnection. And because you don't want to seem like a nag, you simply bottle your emotions and you too distance yourself for your own protection. And I understand that. I get that. And I could not argue with that. I understand why you would. But you see what happened? This vicious cycle begins to emerge. And many times that's where couples are. They're tied up in this vicious cycle. Now, some of these thinkings I find fits into what I call the old way of thinking, or the old way of what you hear so often pretty much out there. Assuming that your husband's silence means he doesn't care. So far from the truth. I can tell you sometimes when I'm silent in my marriage, that has nothing to do with me caring or not caring. Nothing at all to do with that. But somehow we assign meaning that are so incorrect. We haven't taken the time to check out. And maybe what it is your husband is looking for is for you to verify and to check in with him what's going on. And I'll tell you a little bit more about how that can be done in a few moments. So that's where our old way of thinking is that assuming your husband's silence means he doesn't care. What if it meant something else? Another old way of thinking is trying to fix your husband or expecting him to think and feel or show his emotions like you. You know, I jokingly say sometimes to women, to a wife, I would say, of course, after I build a rapport and relationship with them, working with them for some time, I'll say, you know, your husband is not your girlfriend and should not be. So if you want him to think or to emote or to show emotions like you do and get excited about things in an emotional way like you do, you might need to go to your girlfriend for that. Your husband is not that. He's not going to be showing it that way, right? Another old way of thinking is believing he doesn't want emotional intimacy. Again, it's so far from the truth. Your husband also want to connect emotionally. It just does not look the same way that you want it. Doesn't mean it's not true, but it's just different. So if there's an old way of thinking, then there must be a new way. And that's what I'm trying to propose. Not trying, I am proposing in this video to recognize that men, your husband, often process emotions differently and need time to articulate those feelings, right? They need time to share those feelings, to show those feelings. But you have to look closer sometimes. You have time to look with a magnifying glass sometimes to see it, right? A new way of thinking also is understand his emotional needs, respect, trust, and admiration. Yes, I know it might be egotistical that we want our ego to be scratched. And I know most men are this way. And that's how we're wired. I'm just sorry to break that to you. So it doesn't mean, here's what I find, to go against that and try to change that, it's not going to happen. So might as well get on board with this and understand. The quicker you can understand this, dear wife, the better it is for you. That his emotional needs really, and many times when he gets this, he has no problem reciprocating, right? So respect, trust, and admiration, feeling supported, valued, acknowledged, appreciated, and all those things are what really kind of fuels his tank. Another new way of thinking is that to embrace his unique problem solving and communication style without trying to change him or be a mom to him and trying to use that to get him to see things the way you see things and nag him or even mother him in that regard. So embrace that because he's logical, not necessarily dismissing you. It's just the way it is for him. Now, here are some key insights about your husband's mind. Now, before I share that with you or them with you, would you pause this video and hit that subscribe button if you've not yet done so? And if you like what you've heard so far or is hearing, smash that thumbs up button. I really appreciate that. Now, what then are some key insights about your husband that I believe is going to be helpful to you in this video as I shared earlier? Number one, husbands crave respect and admiration, as I mentioned or hinted at a few moments ago, more than verbal emotional expressions. That's his number one desire, his number one thing that really gets him going and juices him up and fuels him is when he feels respected. He craves that and admiration more than he values anything else, basically. Doesn't mean he doesn't value them, but it's high on the order of what he does, right? Husbands also communicate more directly and sometimes less frequently. But it doesn't mean that because he communicates less frequently and more directly that he's not listening. It doesn't mean that. It just means that's how he is. Imagine if you can quickly embrace this and understand this about him and realize he's not there as an enemy or trying to oppose you, but he's want to be on board with you. But these things are very, very important to him. Husbands, your husband often view problems as tasks to solve, as most men do, right? They want to fix certain things. They want to, what can I fix? How can I fix that? And they want to quickly fix something. And that's why I tell couples many times in my work, I would say, hey, unless your wife asks you to fix something, what if you just ask her, even ahead of time, and say to her, honey, when I'm in this situation, will you let me know if you want me to fix something? Listen to you, just be there, be present. Just tell me what you want me to do. So when I find myself in those situations, I'll know what to do. So maybe you may have to lead him in that regards, right? Because they see problems as tasks. It's almost like a hammer. When it sees anything, it treats it as a nail. So it's your husband. Now, I did a video, which I highly recommend that you watch, where I talked about the number one thing your husband craves and is not what you think. That's the title of the video. In this video, I covered more about respect as the the thing that your husband needed mostly. I cannot talk about this enough. It is fuel, right? The respect is fuel to your husband's engine. And if it doesn't, he's running out of gas and you're experiencing some of the things you're experiencing because that fuel tank might be empty, right? So here's the thing. You might say, but Kingsley, if I respect him more, won't that just let him off the hook? Far from the truth. Dear wife, again, I'm a husband, I'm a man, and listen, please, I want to make sure you understand this. Respect isn't about ignoring issues. It's about creating an environment where he feels safe to show up emotionally. The Bible speaks about this in Ephesians 5, verses 33, towards the end of the chapter. He talks about a couple of things. He said, a wife should respect her husband. A husband should love his wife, and a wife should respect her husband. This is so critical, and that's why Paul, the writer of Ephesians, emphasizes at that whole chapter of love and respect. He says, this is why it is so important for you to respect your husband, because he needs this. He needs this. So here's what I want to do then. I mean, having heard that, having gotten the gist of what this, video is all about, when I say what Christian wives, what wives must understand about their husband's mind, I hope you have a brief insight. I hope I have taken you into his mind and get you to see some things that you may not have thought about, or seen it the way that I've presented that. So Kingsley, well, what should I now do about that? What is it that you're proposing that I do? Well, I'm glad you asked. Now, so this week, I want you to find one specific way to affirm or respect your husband. Okay. Sometimes it may look like not doing something for him unless he asks you, because he may feel like you're trying to mother him and treat him not as an adult, but in a disrespectful way. It could be thank him for something he's done, show appreciation, acknowledge his efforts, express admiration for his character, something you hone in on that you may not normally do. That's respectful. And you may not even realize this. And that's why I think I keep on saying it. You know, when I speak about this as a husband, as a man, I believe that as a wife, I'm on your side. I want you to get a chance to build a stronger, happier, and longer lasting marriage. And hearing it from someone like your husband who knows what a man goes through and how we think, I think that I'm better positioned. And I'm not saying this in an arrogant manner. No, I'm in a better position to help you. And I hope that's what you're hearing from what I'm saying. You also may want to journal around this question. So I would suggest you write this down. And here's what I would like you to do to think about this week. What are 3 ways I can better understand my husband's unique perspective? Just write down and think about that, pray over that. What are 3 ways? And begin to look for those 3 ways that you can better understand your husband's unique perspective. And when you come up with that, I'd love for you to hear from you. You could just send me a message on Instagram at Kingsley Grant, and or comment on this video, something that you may want to write, just anonymously or just broadly, so it doesn't have to be personal. I'd love to hear from you what it is you've come up with. And also, if you want to go deeper, I want you to download my free Happier Marriage Roadmap. 5 proven steps to a happier, stronger marriage. And you can get that at buildyourhappiermarriage.com. Buildyourhappiermarriage.com/roadmap. And the link will be in the description below, so you can also click on it right there as well. Now, I want to leave you with this verse of scripture, which is very, very phenomenal to what we're talking about here. And that's Psalm 127, verse 1. It says, unless the Lord builds a house, those who build it labor in vain. Imagine. That's why I said embracing the mind of Christ is the fastest and most impactful way to build stronger, healthy, happier, and longer lasting marriage. Psalm 127, verse 1. Unless the Lord builds a house and you have the mind of Christ, we labor in vain. Remember, your marriage isn't just a relationship. It's a partnership with God. And remember, you're only one communication skill away from a happier marriage. With that said, my friend, if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so now and make sure you watch this other video right here and share that with at least one other person. God bless you both now and always. And I see you on the next video. God bless.